In this video, we consider the original series episode, The Cloudminders, after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. The original idea for this episode was written by David Gerald. However, the finished screenplay was not his, and in an interview later, he said that he really didn't recognize the story much. It was supposed to be a parable about slavery, about two different classes of people who are otherwise not very different from each other, but some had the misfortune of having to dig in the mines while others were able to live in the clouds. And what they made this into was a situation where the cloud people were actually right in their assessment that the troglodytes were mentally inferior. You could test it. And the cause of it is by this gas that is put out by raw xenite, which they mine for, among doing other things. And it kind of takes away the impact, I think, of the idea between slavery or indentured servitude, will it be, and the upper class just thinking that they're better than everybody else. And they take that away by making something physically there. And both sides are about equally resistant to the idea that it's an unseen gas. But I mean, all gases are pretty much unseen. That's how they're gases. Nevertheless, I find this to be kind of a blunt instrument to tell this story with. We have a little more front and center Spock, where Kirk and Spock beam down to this place, and immediately the head of the government's daughter takes to Spock. Oh, you're so interesting, and you're so logical, and you're almost as good as we are, and you have nice ears, and tell me about your sex life. And, you know, it's wasted film, in my opinion. We've had enough stories about Spock's sex life. And he even leans into it, his character does, in that in his early consideration, he considers Droxine lovely. I've never met a work of art before, he says. These kind of things were not really Spock kind of lines. And while he's not completely inconsistent with himself throughout the episode, certainly is in that sense. And I find that the only saving grace of it is that Kirk doesn't have a smooch fest himself. Once again, while we have people in desperate need of this xenite consignment, they're still hanging around at the end so that they can make their little moral statement, and it doesn't seem necessary. You're not going to change the minds of everybody. It's not likely that demonstration of the fight in the mines is going to change the minds either of the troglodytes or of the ruling class. So the idea that they're going to send some kind of mediator in and there'll be charges pressed against the captain and maybe not, it seems that they once again threw one of these together and took this idea of a class society, one being the more evolved than the other, was really lost in this whole idea of xenite gas. I think they could have done without that and helped things along a little bit. They could have taken away the lovely daughter and given more of a real kind of negotiation that would have been really what might have happened in real life, is that perhaps because of that need, the captain would use his influence to sit the parties together and just see what they want. What are the demands that the troglodytes had really did not speak to any specifics there. Other thing was the name troglodytes itself. Spock mentions it's an abbreviation of an old Earth term. Why would these people know old Earth terms? It just so happens that troglodyte, which means cave dweller, and troglodyte, which they picked for this, is something that one of the writers came up with. And it's not something that would evolve on a planet that far from Earth. So little things like this that were just unnecessary in order to move the story forward were there. And it's just another example of third season Trek where all they needed to do was get something to stick to the film and get it up on the air and move on to the next thing. That was kind of the modus operandi of Fred Freiberger was that's good enough. Film it, print it, get it out. I'd like to know what you think about this, though. Please put it in the comments below. And, of course, we're always looking for subscriptions. If you've not subscribed yet, please do so, and a like would be nice as well. Tomorrow, we'll have a review of the latest Bad Batch episode, and on Friday, of course, we will have the Babylon 5 episode. So we hope you'll stay tuned to this channel for those things upcoming. And until next time, don't go far.